My fiancé hooked up with my two-faced best friend and threw me out to feed the zombies. After being reborn, I rented the apartment right opposite theirs in advance to hoard supplies. I spent all the bride price he gave me and the renovation funds he forced me to save. When the zombie outbreak happened again, I could finally chill on my balcony. Watching this scumbag couple suffer together in the apocalypse, I suddenly opened my eyes in bed. I thought I was having a nightmare where zombies gnawed me down to the bone. I lost my last breath in endless, agonizing pain. So waking up so suddenly, my whole body was still experiencing phantom pain. Honey, did you have a nightmare? Mao Bufan, playing on his phone beside me, noticed I wasn't moving and was trembling all over. He reached out to hug me, but a wave of disgust washed over me. My first reaction was to push him away. My sudden neurotic reaction clearly annoyed him, but he quickly regained his composure, forcing a smile. Honey, I have to go out today. What do you want to eat? I'll bring it back tonight. Hearing this, I frantically grabbed my phone. January 14, 2026, 9:44 am. The exact same time. The exact same words. This wasn't a dream. I had been reborn to the day before the outbreak. Mao Bufan saw me staring blankly at my phone and shook me. The renovation guys are coming around 10 to sign the contract. Remember to pay them when we were dating. Mao Bufan bought this apartment in full. When we were discussing premarital details, he asked me to take the 500,000 I had saved up over the years to pay for the renovation. You have no parents, I'll be your closest family. Your name will be on the deed after we marry. The sooner we renovate, the sooner we move in, right? Under his constant brainwashing, I was somewhat swayed. Later, to show his sincerity, he proactively transferred a 200,000 bride price to me, which successfully dispelled my last bit of hesitation. I signed the contract with the renovation company he found without any background check and paid 700,000 upfront. It turned out to be a shell company run by his buddy. That 700,000 went through his buddy's hands, left a few thousand as a service fee, and the rest went straight into Mao Bufan's pocket. Not only did he use a romance scam to steal my savings, but he also hooked up with my best friend, Liu Ruyan. After the outbreak, Liu Ruyan was trapped in our house when I caught them in the act. Before I could even settle the score, they threw me out to feed the zombies just to monopolize the supplies. In this life, if I don't get my revenge, I will never forgive myself. Mao Bufan saw my stiff face, assumed I just had morning crankiness, and reminded me again. I suppressed my anger, gave a few perfunctory replies, and without noticing anything wrong, he packed up and left. As soon as he was gone, I immediately stuffed my valuables and clothes into a suitcase. I also tossed in the drone he had bought. I rushed out the door, heading straight for the bulletin board at the neighborhood entrance. The board was covered with rental ads. Soon, I found the one I vaguely remembered. I dialed the number. Hello, is this Miss Wang? I'd like to rent your apartment. Can we sign the contract now? The apartment Miss Wang was renting out was directly opposite Mao Bufan's. Because the buildings were so close, when the previous tenants moved out last week, I had noticed it from my balcony. Miss Wang apparently lived in this neighborhood too, so she hurried over right after the call. Seeing me dragging a suitcase, she kindly asked about my situation. I frankly told her my fiancé cheated, we broke up, I had no family to rely on, and had to move out on my own, out of sisterly sympathy. She offered to lower the rent by 500. She also told me, just call me Sister Wang from now on. My elderly parents moved in, so the space wasn't enough. So we bought a bigger place right across the street. It's fate that we met. If you need anything, just come find me. Sister Wang and I smoothly signed the contract and added each other on WeChat. Just as she handed me the keys and was about to leave, I thought for a moment and grabbed her arm. Sister Wang, if you trust me, reinforce your doors and windows today. Stock up on as much food and supplies as you can. There might be massive chaos tomorrow. She was stunned and asked what was going on. I just told her it was insider info I couldn't disclose. Perhaps she had a natural trust in me. She just said okay. Told me to protect myself and hurried away. I immediately hired a locksmith to replace the front door with an ultra-thick, reinforced security door. At that moment, an unknown number called. I guessed it was Mao Bufan scamming contractor arriving, so I answered. Is this Miss Lee? I'm little Zhou from the renovation company. I'm here to sign the contract. I've been ringing your doorbell for a long time with no response. Could you open the door? I had an emergency and went out. Can you come back in an hour? He eagerly agreed on the phone. After the worker finished replacing the door, I slipped him some extra cash, asking him to secretly change the lock on the public corridor door too. This building had 1 unit per elevator. By locking the public corridor door, I effectively had 2 doors as double insurance. Right after the locksmith left, the window grill installer I booked arrived. He touched the invisible security netting already installed on the balcony and said, most people use these invisible ones nowadays. The fully enclosed ones you want affect the aesthetic and make it hard to hang clothes. This building was burgled a few days ago. I'm scared. So I need maximum security. Hearing this, he didn't ask further, measured the dimensions, and said he'd install it in the afternoon. After sending off both workers, I rushed to the supermarket, ready for a massive haul, holding a card with 600,000 on it. The suffocating anger I felt all morning finally found an outlet. I found a staff member and told them my company sent me to buy New Year employee benefits, asking for several flatbed carts to load up whatever I picked. Not knowing how long the apocalypse would last, to ensure I wouldn't starve, I mostly picked non-perishable foods. Instant noodles, rice noodles, flat noodles, self-heating hot pots, self-heating rice, canned meat, canned fruits, canned veggies, beef jerky, hardtack, small breads, rice, flour, various sauces, and peanut oil. Considering electricity issues, I had already booked someone to install 3 solar battery panels at home this afternoon. It should be enough to power 2 newly bought chest freezers, so I added some frozen foods. Frozen dumplings, steaks, fish fillets, and chicken. I also bought cabbages, onions, oranges, apples, corn, and potatoes to put in the apartment's original fridge for daily use. Passing the snack aisle, I grabbed a ton of my favorite snacks, especially sweet potato chips, all flavors of chocolate, various candies, instant milk tea, and instant coffee. That covered the food, since it was a newly rented place. It lacked basic necessities, so I stocked up on bedding, electric blankets, slippers, and plenty of toothpaste, toothbrushes, body wash, shampoo, laundry detergent, tissues, and sanitary pads. That was about it for survival gear. Then I suddenly remembered I still needed high-powered binoculars. That thing was crucial. After gathering everything, the staff guided me through the bulk checkout lane and arranged direct delivery to my house. Leaving the supermarket while packing essential meds at a pharmacy, Zhou Liang called me again. I answered and immediately faked a panicked tone. Mr. Zhou, I was just about to call you. My bank card was frozen due to too many wrong password attempts. I'm queuing at the bank to fix it. How about you come tomorrow morning? I'll pay you an extra 5,000 as an apology. Is that okay? When I said the first half, I could tell he was about to blow his top. But when I finished the second half, his tone instantly became warm. No problem at all. It's my pleasure. Then I'll come at the same time tomorrow morning. You focus on fixing your card. Hang up, I sneered inwardly. Who doesn't know how to act? I had almost all the supplies, but thinking of how that scumbag couple killed me in my past life, I still felt uneasy. I felt I needed some hardcore defensive weapons to defend against zombies and counterkill those two, so I went to a hardware store, bought high-voltage stun batons, rechargeable extendable machetes, and iron wire. If those scumbags dare to come near me, I'd shock them to a crisp, then chop their heads off. I checked the time. It was almost time for the installers to arrive. After paying the hardware boss for home delivery, I prepared to take a cab back. In the car, I called several water delivery stations near my home, ordering a total of over 200 large water jugs, paying extra for them to deliver inside. As soon as I stepped out of the elevator, I saw the workers waiting at my door with materials. I quickly opened up and let them get to work. Once everything was done, the supplies filled up 2 large bedrooms, and the overflow had to be stacked in the living room. By the time I finished all this, it was dark out. My phone had over 20 missed calls, mostly from Mao Bufan and a few from Li Ruyan. I locked the doors and called Li Ruyan back while heading downstairs. Liu, I was busy and didn't hear my phone. What's wrong? Zhanggyang, I had a fight with my boyfriend. I feel awful. You were the first person I thought of. Men are never as good as sisters, I have to admit. Liu Ruyan was great at playing weak and providing emotional value. Normal low-tier manipulators only know how to coax men, but this high-tier manipulator was basically a psychologist. Lethal to both men and women. Hearing her, I acted anxious and said, then come sleep at my place tonight. Don't stay with that stinky man anymore. I'll take a cab to pick you up right now, if she didn't come over. My scripted show would be missing its lead actress. Opening the door, Mao Bufan jumped up from the sofa, exuding a heavy aura of irritation. But when he saw Li Ruyan behind me, his face instantly shifted to doting. I was wondering why I couldn't reach you. Turns out you were with her, seeing the scene. It was clear Li Ruyan had pushed Mao Bufan to come clean to me, but since Mao hadn't swindled my money yet, he refused. Then Li Ruyan got mad, ignoring his messages and calls. The desperate scumbag started blowing up my phone, ready to take his anger out on me. What kind of lard was clouding my brain in my previous life, that I couldn't see through any of these obvious details? Immediately, he pretended to ask casually, "Is your bank card issue sorted out?" The manager got off work. The teller gave me the first queue number for tomorrow morning. I'll go then. He didn't say much else. Turned around and lay down to play on his phone. I turned to Li Ruyan. It's late. You should take a shower first. The guest room is always ready for you. I even put on fresh bedsheets and covers. I love my Zhanggyang the most. You're the absolute best sister in the world. Hearing this, I rolled my eyes so hard internally they almost got stuck. But I still hugged her, smiling sweetly. You sisters are so cheesy, it's making me sick, honey, hearing Mao Bufan call me honey. She immediately let go and headed straight for the bathroom. At 4 o'clock a.m., I excitedly opened my eyes. I quietly slipped out of bed, pushed the biggest suitcase from the storage room next to the fridge, and began emptying all the food from the fridge until the suitcase was packed tight. Only then did I satisfyingly snap it shut. Just as I was about to push it to the door, click. The sound of the kitchen door handle turning echoed. Oh crap, Mao Bufan is awake, my heart sank. I ditched the suitcase and squeezed into the gap between the fridge and the wall. Almost simultaneously, Mao Bufan walked out. My mind went entirely blank. Just when I thought fate was playing a cruel joke on me again, he tiptoed straight towards the guest room. About a minute later, low moans from Li Ruyan drifted out of the guest room. I breathed a huge sigh of relief. I quickly went back to the master bedroom, grabbed the phone Mao Bufan had forgotten in his rush to cheat, and stuffed it in my bag. I grabbed my suitcase and walked out the door without looking back. Once outside, I double-locked the door from the outside and blocked Li Ruyan on WeChat and my phone contacts. Let's see how long you two can stay happy. Back in my rented apartment, I locked both doors, looking at my fully stocked supplies. The breath I had been holding in my lungs finally exhaled. I laid down on the new bed in the master bedroom and stretched lazily. I never have to lie next to that filthy scumbag ever again. This feels amazing. The alarm rang precisely at 9 o'clock a.m. I woke up energized, leaned against the headboard, and pulled out the scumbag's phone. I had already cracked his password in my last life. This time, he had no idea I knew he was cheating, so I easily unlocked it. Over 100 missed calls from Li Ruyan lay in the log. Smiling, I walked to the balcony and put my eyes to the binoculars I had set up earlier. In the lens, Mao Bufan was pacing around the house like an enraged lion. The floor was covered in mess. Li Ruyan was beside him, on the phone while trying to pull him back, desperately trying to console him. Mao Bufan is truly something else. With the house looking like a disaster zone, how is he going to receive our esteemed guest later? I took out my own phone and filmed the explicit chats and sex tapes from Mao Bufan and Li Ruyan, forwarding all of it to Li Ruyan's current boyfriend, Chen Meng. Li Ruyan is useless at everything, but her taste in terrible men never disappoints me. Recently, she accurately latched onto a domestic abuser, Chen Meng. Very soon, Chen Meng called. I answered immediately. Brother Meng, I want to apologize to you. No wonder you beat her before. I don't even know what to do now. Brother Meng, please come and seek justice. What kind of immense balls do they have to put a green hat on me? Watch me slaughter them. Send me your address. Don't let them escape today. I'm heading over right now. Hanging up, I immediately sent him the detailed address and apartment number, and told him exactly where I hid the spare key. His place is only about a 10-minute drive away, so I wouldn't have to wait long. Using this free time, I opened the suitcase I had dragged back from the scumbag's place and stored all the scavenged food into the fridge and cabinets. Nearing a.m., I excitedly rushed back to the balcony, turned on the listening device I had planted beforehand, and adjusted the binoculars to look across. Mao Bufan was completely exhausted. He sat on the sofa, his face dark. Li Ruyan sat beside him, gently stroking his back. Hubby, stop being mad. The locksmith will be here soon. Later, I'll go with you to replace your SIM card and buy you a new phone, okay? Mao Bufan irritably pushed her away, but she clung right back onto him. Just then, the front door was kicked open. The locksmith, Chen Meng, stormed into the room with murderous intent. Before the scumbag couple could even react, he grabbed Mao Bufan by the neck like a little chicken and slammed him to the floor. The floor was covered in broken glass. Mao Bufan landed right on it, grimacing in pain, before he could even groan twice. Chen Meng sat on him like a mountain, raising his fists and ruthlessly smashing them into the scumbag's head. With glass shards piercing his back and fists the size of sandbags hitting his face. I felt phantom pain just watching Mao Bufan. Liu Rian probably felt bad for him too, and reached out to pull Chen Meng away. Big mistake. Her pull reminded Chen Meng there was another bitch to deal with. He got off Mao Bufan and delivered a massive backhand slap right across Liu Rian's face. I see you have a death wish too. Haven't beaten you enough, have I? After saying that, he delivered 2 more resounding slaps. Just as I was glued to the binoculars, panning left and right to catch every brilliant frame, busy as a bee, my phone rang. I reluctantly answered. Miss Li, it's little Zhou. I'm almost at your apartment building. Can we sign the contract normally today? Oh wow, I was watching so intently that I completely forgot about this minor character rushing over to deliver his own head. I looked downstairs. Zhou Liang was just about to step into Mao Bufan's building lobby. I quickly stopped him. Little Zhou, I'm not home. I went to the bank early this morning. Zhou Liang stopped in his tracks, but I'm already on my way back. I'll be at the compound in about 10 minutes. Why don't you sit on that bench right across from the building entrance and wait for me? Don't move. Otherwise I won't be able to find you, Zhou Liang readily agreed. He turned and sat on the bench. Only about 5 minutes passed, when suddenly several infected zombies rushed out from behind him, biting straight into his carotid artery. Blood instantly sprayed all over the ground. At the same time, horrifying screams echoed simultaneously from every corner of the community garden. The entire garden descended into chaos. Living people were chased around by zombies, fleeing in panic. Those bitten rapidly transformed into new zombies and started biting others. In just over 10 minutes, the ground below was swarming with mutated zombies. The timing of the apocalypse outbreak was exactly the same as in my previous life. The only difference was that this time, I watched the scammer bite the dust with my own eyes. This feeling was incredibly satisfying, humming happily. I aimed the binoculars back across the street. The 3 of them were now looking down from the balcony, their faces written with sheer terror. For Mao Bufan to orchestrate a romance scam, his reflexes were indeed slightly sharper than the other 2 idiots. Just like now, he suddenly dropped to his knees in front of Chen Meng, sobbing uncontrollably, trying to shift their internal conflict onto me. Brother Meng, this is all that bitch Li Haoxiang's doing. She stole my phone and fabricated the evidence. Please don't fall for her trick. Saying that, he crawled to the fridge and pulled the door open. Look. She cleared out all the food in the house. This was clearly a trap. We absolutely cannot let her get away with this. Chen Meng, all brawn and no brains, was easily enraged by Mao Bufan's few words. Steam practically blew out his ears. He immediately called me. I cleared my throat and answered the phone with a breathless, crying tone. I was so scared. I was almost bitten by a zombie. Brother Meng, are you okay at my place? Chen Meng was momentarily stunned by my unexpected concern, but quickly resumed his questioning tone. Li Heixiang, did you set me up to play me? Play you for what? You watched the sex tapes yourself, how could they be fake? Besides, there are zombies everywhere right now. I almost got bitten to death, yet you're safe and sound in my house and have the nerve to say I set you up. Chen Meng clearly sounded less confident on the phone now. Then why is there no food in your house? I never cook. Why would I have food at home? Whenever Liu Rian came over, I always treated her out to eat. I was even worried you wouldn't have anything to eat there and was trying to find someone to deliver you food. But now it seems you three are the ones truly teaming up to play me. Hearing that, I wanted to send him food. He quickly tried to smooth things over. Wait. Zhangjiang, why are you getting so worked up? I was just asking casually. Before he could finish, I hung up and turned on Do Not Disturb. Through the binoculars, Chen Meng frantically tried to call back, but couldn't get through. In his anxiety, he brutally kicked Mao Bufan, who was still kneeling, to the ground, continuously beating him, until Mao Bufan passed out from the pain. Only then did Chen Meng stop. For the next 3 days, while the network was up, Chen Meng kept trying to contact me. Every time he couldn't get through, he'd take his anger out on those two. By the 4th day, the internet went down and calls couldn't be made. The 3 extremely starved people were neatly lying on the floor, waiting for death. I laughed. Compared to them, my place was absolute paradise. Not only did I have meat and veggies for 3 meals a day, but my landlady, Sister Wang, often used a drone to send me homemade meat buns, dumplings, pancakes, and sweet and sour pork to feed me. Strange as it sounds, Sister Wang had only met me once but trusted me completely. The day we signed the contract, after getting my warning, she went home and started hoarding supplies, filling her house to the brim. There wasn't even room to walk. On the morning of the outbreak, she cried and threw a tantrum, blocking the door so her husband couldn't go to work and her son couldn't go to school. Her family thought she had gone crazy from some trauma, but couldn't out-stubborn her, so they just went along with it. Not long after, horrifying screams began echoing from the garden below. The family watched from the balcony, shivering in fear. Now, her family and I could both live through the apocalypse with absolutely no pressure. Although my life in this timeline was vastly better, that didn't mean my revenge ended here. I wanted them to taste the exact same pain I once tasted. At 4 o'clock a.m., my preset alarm rang, while those 3 across the way were still asleep. I hung a box of food from my drone, dropped it onto Mao Bufan's balcony, and brought the drone back. I then airdropped a message to Chen Meng. Take good care of them. I'll send more food later. After doing this, I went back to sleep. When I opened my eyes again, it was past a.m. I quickly ran to the balcony to continue my peeping. Chen Meng was sitting on the sofa, shaking his leg, eating instant noodles. The scumbag couple was kneeling before him. Liu Rian stared at the noodles, begging, "Hubby, I'm so hungry too. Could you leave me a sip of the broth when you're done?" "Of course. But you're only fit to drink it off the floor." Saying that, Chen Meng threw the noodle bowl onto the floor. Liu Rian had been starving for a day and a night, so she threw away her pride. She laid on the floor and wolfed it down, but after just a few licks, Mao Bufan shoved her aside and snatched the rest. She probably never imagined that Mao Bufan, who always called her baby, would physically fight her over a few sips of noodle soup. She started wailing loudly, crying while grabbing Mao Bufan's clothes, brawling with him. Unfortunately, they were facing sideways. I couldn't see the details clearly through the binoculars, But right then, I received a clear, front-facing video airdropped by Chen Meng. In the video, the two were groveling on the floor like beggars, their faces covered in soup, looking utterly pathetic. It seems Chen Meng now fully understood whose thigh he needed to hug. From then on, at every mealtime, I punctually received videos of the scumbag couple lovingly fighting for food, airdropped by him. I gotta say, watching this with my meals was more appetizing than any mukbang. Day 58 of the zombie outbreak. Watching the mukbang videos of the scumbag couple airdropped by Chen Meng, my heart no longer felt any waves. I even felt a bit nauseous. Mao Bufan and Liu Ruyan, under the torture of extreme hunger and fear, had become completely unrecognizable. Meanwhile, Chen Meng sadistically enjoyed this twisted pleasure and continuously used the videos to prove his worth to me. This situation lasted until day 65 of the outbreak. That afternoon, as I was leisurely eating the savory pancakes Sister Wang sent, my phone pinged, another airdrop from Chen Meng. He was pushing a half-dead Mao Bufan toward the edge of the balcony. The camera shook slightly, pointing down at the garden. The number of zombies wandering in the garden seemed greater than previous days, swarming densely. Then the camera turned to Mao Bufan, whose hands were bound. He looked emaciated, with sunken eyes and cracked lips. His eyes were filled with terror and despair. Chen Meng's voice came from off-camera. "Zhang, watch closely. Keeping this thing around is a liability. I'll clean house for you right now and let you enjoy a good show." My heart skipped a beat. I instantly understood Chen Meng's intention. Mao Bufan clearly understood too, and started struggling and begging frantically. Beside him, Liu Ruyan slumped in the corner, her hands hugging her stomach, trembling violently. Terrified that she would be next, I put down my pancake, immediately pressed my eyes to the binoculars and adjusted the focus. Under the high-definition lens, Mao Bufan's face, twisted with extreme fear, was clearly visible. Chen Meng chuckled darkly. Without hesitation, his arms forcefully shoved, Mao Bufan let out a blood-curdling scream. Lifted effortlessly by Chen Meng, thrown over the balcony railing, and plummeted downstairs. My eyes closely tracked his falling figure. I saw him flailing his limbs uselessly in the air, and then, with a heavy thud, he crashed violently into the bushes below. The impact was severe, but he didn't seem to die immediately. The agonizing pain made him curl up, emitting tortuous groans. The next second, all the aimlessly wandering zombies simultaneously turned toward the sound, but just as they closed in on Mao Bufan's body, every single zombie showed signs of fear and backed away. There was something in Mao Bufan's blood. This discovery made me feel like I was plunged into an ice cave. It wasn't an antibody, but rather, his blood probably contained some substance that zombies found repulsive. I didn't have time to delve into the scientific mechanics. A terrifying reality laid before me. Mao Bufan had somehow gained a blessing in disguise. He acquired the most formidable asset in the apocalypse, relative safety amidst a zombie horde. Sure enough, after realizing this, Mao Bufan seemed to unleash all his latent potential. He struggled up, staggered, and with a wicked smirk, rushed back upstairs. The surrounding zombies hissed at him, pacing agitatedly, but didn't dare get within a meter of him. What happened next? I couldn't see clearly due to the angle. But not long after, Mao Bufen's figure reappeared at the edge of the balcony. He leaned on the railing, panting heavily. He seemed to have new scrapes and blood on his arm, and that idiot Li Ruyan crawled over like a dog, hugging Mao Bufen's leg, begging for something. Soon, the two reached an agreement. As Li Ruyan bandaged Mao Bufen's wound, he cast a gaze filled with a mix of ecstasy, resentment, and greed, scanning the surroundings. When his eyes finally locked onto my building, I knew the ultimate reckoning was coming. My heartbeat suddenly accelerated. Running away was a terrible idea. There were zombies everywhere outside. Defending was a dead end once he breached my door. With his special blood, he could slowly wear me down. I had to strike before he regained his stamina and fully learned to exploit his new advantage. I had to take the initiative. For the next 2 days, like a ruthless hunter, I kept my eyes glued to my prey. Meanwhile, Mao Bufen frequently used his blood to venture downstairs, scavenging any usable supplies. I noticed that the blood-soaked cloth tied to his arm, which he used to deter zombies, was darkening day by day. From its initial bright red to dark red, and finally almost brown. During his recent runs, he had to wave the cloth much closer to the zombies, and they didn't back away as much as they did initially. This verified a crucial hypothesis of mine. Whatever substance in his blood that repelled zombies likely oxidized and broke down over time, eventually rendering it ineffective. So, his amulet had a time limit, and since he was already weak, it was impossible for him to bleed himself constantly just to scare off zombies. This undoubtedly gave me a glimmer of hope. Day 67 of the zombie outbreak. Howling winds, a rainstorm approaching. The noise would cover up many sounds. My chance had arrived. I turned back inside and brought out the drone I had prepared. Tying a bag of highly aromatic pork jerky to it. Then, I carefully piloted the drone, sneaking it over to the AC compressor unit outside Mao Bufen's balcony. I placed the jerky on a visible ledge that required some climbing to reach, then maneuvered the drone to lightly tap its propellers against the AC unit's casing. The noise wasn't loud, but amidst the noisy backdrop of the rainstorm, it was enough to catch the attention of starving people. After doing this, I immediately recalled the drone. My heart pounding, this was a massive gamble. I was gambling that their craving for food would overpower their caution. I stared intensely through the binoculars. The opposite balcony door opened. Mao Bufen and Li Ruyan peeked out, looking around warily before spotting the AC unit. The smell of pork jerky to starving people was more tempting than anything. They argued in hushed tones for a few sentences, but eventually, their hunger triumphed over everything. A few minutes later, Mao Bufen with a newly blood-soaked cloth tied to his arm, and Li Ruyan began edging along the exterior wall pipes, struggling to climb toward the gap by the AC unit. Now is the time. I took a deep breath and brought out my ultimate weapon, firecrackers. It wasn't some high-tech gadget. I originally bought them to celebrate New Year's with friends. I loaded the most powerful red bottle rocket onto a slingshot, pulled the band with all my might, aiming at a balcony on a lower floor of their building, one piled with junk furniture and waste paper. The firecracker accurately shot into the balcony. Though it didn't ignite a huge fire, the sparks and the loud bang were enough to startle anything lurking inside. Immediately after, moving as fast as I could, I shot several more firecrackers at different balconies of their building. And near the windows along their climbing route, the continuous explosions and flashes of light were like thunder in the dead of night. In an instant, the entire building was agitated like a kicked hornet's nest. Countless dormant zombies were stimulated by the sudden bangs and lights, letting out deafening roars. A tidal wave of zombies surged from inside the building and down below, swarming wildly. Meanwhile, Mao Bufan and Li Ruyan were hanging on the exterior wall, stuck in a dilemma. "What's happening?" Mao Bufan cried out in shock. His pseudo-antibody could deter scattered zombies normally, but right now, with the entire horde triggered into a collective frenzy, that faint scent was like a candle in a hurricane, snuffed out instantly. Countless rotting hands reached out from the windows below, grabbing at their dangling feet. Even zombies from the rooftop poked their heads out, hissing. "Bufan, save me, pull me up, quick," Li Ruyan cried in despair. Her ankle had been tightly gripped by a zombie. "Get off, don't pull me down." Mao Bufan's face twisted savagely. Without a second thought, he brutally kicked the hand Li Ruyan was using to grip the pipe, carrying endless resentment and horror. Li Ruyan plummeted straight down and was instantly swallowed by the swarming zombies below. Using the upward momentum from that vicious kick, Mao Bufan desperately scrambled up to the roof, disappearing from my line of sight, but I knew he was doomed. Besides that small bag of jerky I sent him, the roof was just another dead end with no escape. A few days later, when I checked again, the opposite balcony and roof were completely devoid of life. Whether Mao Bufan starved to death, died of a wound infection, or was bitten to pieces by the zombies that eventually breached the roof door, I no longer cared. The threat was completely neutralized. When the roar of the rescue helicopters finally sounded, I calmly packed my bags. This time, I didn't feel wild ecstasy, only a deep sense of exhaustion and relief. I walked out of this sanctuary that had carried so much darkness, because this time, I truly survived on my own terms.